How are we doing out there, guys? I'm excited to be back with you all for another episode of the podcast. Today, we're going to do a detailed case study on one of the best sports teams in football history, and we're going to see what we can extract from the mindset of the team overall and some of their best individual players. Now, the team in question is Real Madrid between 2014 and 2018, when they won a total of 4 Champions League titles in 5 years, including 3 in a row. Now, if you're not a football fan, and that's soccer for my Americans out there, the Champions League is one of the most elite European competitions for club teams. Winning it means that you are basically the best team in Europe, and that's where football is at its pinnacle, so you could possibly say that you are the best club team in the entire world if you win this competition. So for Madrid to do what they did in this time period was ridiculous. It was unheard of. They had a type of energy about them at this time that just was pure excellence. I don't really know how else to describe this. And I'm not even a Madrid fan, really. I remember watching their games and I was just shocked every single time when they were able to pull out a victory when it seemed virtually impossible that they would do so. It was like any time that they faced another team in the competition, it was written in the stars that Madrid was going to win. And this was despite them being down players, being down in the match, having the odds stacked against them. They always seemed to find a way to withstand the pressure and deliver time and time again. And the number of comebacks is too many to name. But to summarize, they looked down and out in several games, and in the semifinals or even the finals, they were down 1, 2, 3 goals at times, and they mounted comebacks every single time. They found a way to come through in the clutch. And during this time, they were led by none other than their talisman, Cristiano Ronaldo. For the purposes of our analysis today, we can use him and the team overall to learn a lot about the right mentality to approach life with, and that is a winning mentality. Cristiano is one of those players that lives for the big moments. It seemed like during this time period, the greater the pressure was, the greater his performance. He scored goals in the finals in 2014 and 2017 during this run, and he remains the competition's leading scorer to this day. Cristiano really embodies greatness, and because of that, we need to study his mindset. We need to take certain things away from his mindset that we can apply in our lives, even if we're not in athletics, even if we're not competing. There are things that he does and the way that he carries himself that are universally applicable and that we need to take lessons away from. And that's why we're here today. Cristiano famously said one time, "I believe I am the best player in the world. If you don't believe you're the best, you will never achieve all that you're capable of." Now, to some, this might come across as cocky, but it's actually really important to start to develop a strong sense of belief in this way, no matter what it is that you're doing. Focusing on the results that you can point to and starting to embody a vision for yourself that is far beyond where your current place in life is. You know, before this legendary run, Cristiano had achieved amazing things in his life, in his football career. He had won the Champions League already. He had won league titles during his time in England. But for him to have the audacity, the confidence to think that he could carry a team to win 3 times in a row and 4 times in 5 years was a quantum leap from where he was before. And to realize this vision, whether that's an ambitious vision like that in your own life or just a simple transformation in your habits or your mindset, we have to adopt the way of thinking and acting that our highest self would take. Cristiano was saying that he was the best player in the world before he had the accolades to back that up. And what he was doing in this case was embodying what the best player in the world would do or say. If you want to be the best, you have to act like the best before you get to that position in life. And it's the famous fake it till you make it. But in reality, we do have to visualize, we do have to create this before it manifests into existence. Cristiano probably had a million doubts in his mind at the time, but what rose to the surface was his self-belief. There's always this war between your self-doubt and your belief in what you can achieve. And this manifests in many different ways in our life, in imposter syndrome, or in a lack of confidence in how we act or operate in business or in our personal lives. But we truly have to embody the version of our highest self. We have to realize that there is that version out there waiting for us to step into. And the only thing holding us back is really our self-doubt and our lack of belief in ourselves. Now, going back to Cristiano, I'm willing to bet that he wouldn't have achieved nearly as much as he did without that forward-thinking mentality, that ability to look ahead and say, I do realize that I have the capabilities, the talent within myself to achieve great things. It's just up to me to execute fearlessly and without self-doubt. Now, let's go back to this Champions League run from 2014 to 2018. As I mentioned before, this team never looked like they were beaten. They never looked down and out, even if they were down 2 goals, 3 goals in a game. They were infected with the same belief that Cristiano had, and it was just translated into a larger scale, into the overall competition in the Champions League. They had what many may call the winning DNA. Now, to deliver at the highest level in any arena, your mentality is actually going to supersede your abilities. Sure, you do need technical skills to deliver. You need some level of talent or a baseline of skills. That has to be the foundation. But at the elite levels, everyone has those abilities. Everyone has decades of training. They have the experience. They have the best sports medicine and nutrition that money can buy. What separated this team from the rest was the mentality, the undying belief that they could win it all. And when you're approaching a big challenge in your own life, it's important to think back to that Cristiano quote. Tell yourself that you are built for this challenge. You've done the work to prepare, and now it's simply time to go out there and execute freely, without pressure, and without self-doubt. Now, we'd be foolish to talk about the winning DNA of this team without going into the team's leader and coach, Zinedine Zidane. Zidane was a serial winner himself back to his playing days with France and Real Madrid. And the fact that he won it before didn't really matter as much as the respect that the players gave him. He was a quiet, brooding type of coach. He liked to keep his thoughts really to himself on the sideline. You couldn't really see explosion of emotion or anything during the high and low moments of a game. But you could tell one thing: his players would go out there and they would work their asses off for him. He was emotionally regulated. He never lost his cool. But the fact that he did that, it commanded respect, and it carried through to the way that the team performed on the pitch. For example, in the 2017 final, they were tied with Juventus 1-1, and he gave a famous halftime speech that was the epitome of cool. It was not frantic. It was not pressured at all. All he said was, "It's a final. We will suffer. But if we keep calm, we will get another goal." The team went on to get not just another goal, but 3 more goals to crush Juventus 4-1 and raise the Champions League trophy. And it was phenomenal to see, to see him remain cool, to see this team do it time and time again, where they were down bad, but they came back and they persevered. They triumphed in the end. And my key takeaway from all of this was, in any organization, in any team, you need to have that respect from the bottom up if you want to deliver at the highest level. It's really a non-negotiable. So this Real Madrid team, they had the perfect combination of talent, leadership, and elite mentality, which allowed them to make history. And we can all learn from this generational run.